Hello, 1st of June 2021. This is the third video on a follow-up of two that I made at the beginning of the year. And this one is called the ET interaction with human beings and the secret space programs since the beginning of the 20th century. Hello everybody and welcome. This is the 1st of June 2021 and I hope that you guys are enjoying your time out of lockdown. It's been a tough year for all of us, and I'm hoping that we can really move forward now. This video is the third on a series I've made since the beginning of 2021. And this one is part one of two. It's called the ET interaction with human beings and the secret space programs since the beginning of the 20th century. I would ask you to try to stay the full 15-20 minutes of the video, not to jump in and out, otherwise you'll just not get the picture. I will try to speed up, I will not go slow, but try to follow to the end, and please post comments, criticisms, questions, etc. Now, this information is actually all out there in the public sphere and has been for the past 6 years. However, when I look at the media, the standard BBC, radio, television, the newspapers, the information is still not coming through. It's almost like a net or a screen or a curtain has been thrown over this information, and the public are not getting the truth. And I think, and many of my friends and contacts I've made around the world think it's time to move forward and to push this whole sphere of information more directly into the public sphere. And by that way, people will begin to understand there's a huge picture here that we haven't really been informed about, or at least we've been slowly informed about it. I guess there are reasons for that. The powers that be have their own, shall we say, decisions to make, and they have programs set in place over many, many years. I wish to be even-handed in this presentation and describe the situation as it is. Naturally, I have to bust some commonly held assumptions and some belief systems that have served their purpose and are now holding us back a little bit in some areas, perhaps not in all areas, because they still stand the test of time. But it's time really for humanity to move forward and to create a much better living space and understanding of our place in the universe. I'm going to talk about the 5 major secret space programs. This information was released beginning 2014 and 15. There was also Stephen Greer's disclosure project back in the early 2000s. But that was really just a warm-up. He's done his best. It was a warm-up for what was to come, I believe. These programs, these secret space programs, have been slowly developed since the 1930s here on Earth, and they have an acronym called the SSP. So when you hear the phrase SSP, it means secret space programs. Now, of the 5 secret space programs, the 5 main ones, there are smaller ones, but the 5 main ones have hidden technology from each other, spied on each other, stolen each other's technology, or have totally gone, shall we say, dark or blank and tried to not reveal their presence in our solar system or on the Earth. The first important secret space program, this is called Solar Warden, and I'm sure quite a few people watching this video have heard of them. Solar Warden was pioneered by the American US Navy, and they had cooperation from a human-looking extraterrestrial group. They worked very hard to create a fleet of large carrier fleets, up to 8 fleets, in fact, to patrol the borders of our solar system, right out to the heliosphere. That's right out past Pluto. And the idea here was to stop intruders and pirate ships intruding into our space, which has been the case for thousands of years. Because, as I said before, we sit on a very valuable and sought after territory, our planet Earth and its neighbours. And so this special program was created to patrol the solar system, stop and intercept and interdict pirate ships and people who should have not been here. And the program was developed in the 1950s, as I said, with help from human-looking ETs. And it was successful. The American Navy, I've been led to understand, was also aided and assisted by Allied powers. That's the powers that worked with America during the Second World War. And this fleet has a very specific mission, as I said, to monitor who's coming in and out of our solar system, and who are the good guys, who are the guys here just to trade, and who are the pirates, and who are the evil folk who are coming to disturb us down on this planet. After intercepting, interrogating and escorting unwanted ETs out of our solar system, the Solar Warden fleet regroups and patrols again, so they keep it up all the time. They have also had very advanced space drives in their ships. The ships are up to apparently 3 kilometers long, the motherships, and can go right out to the nearest stars in a fairly short period of time. There have been people come forward from this program to disclose, particularly on Gaia TV and in conversations with people who are interested in whistleblower testimony, and I'll come to this at the end of the second part of this video series. Now, as I said, the fleet has been in operation since the 1980s, and they tend to ignore the other space fleets that have been created here on Earth by other nations and other groups. So they work within their own parameters, and, as I say, have specific duties to do. The second most important group is the interplanetary corporate conglomerates. This group actually had its beginning in 1891 when well-connected industrialists, businessmen, bankers got together and created a secret society based out of London. And their idea was to extend the life of the British Empire, to extend what they saw as the benefits of the British Empire all over the world, so that Britain would, for maybe more than 150, 200 years, would still remain as the top power. Now, from their perspective, that was a good idea, They thought that was a wise thing to do. From the point of view of Germany before First World War and the Austro-Hungarian Empire, the Ottoman Empire, the Russians, of course, before the fall of the Tsar, and the Chinese before the collapse of the imperial dynasty, they might have had a different perspective, and I guess also some less well-developed cultures around the world would argue against that. But like all empires, like the Roman, it had the British Empire, I believe, had its good points and its obvious weaknesses. Come through to the 1930s, 1940s, Germany was developing a secret space program, but the group operating out of London became aware of this and they wanted to catch up. And what they did was they did trade-offs, the monies to bribe folks in the States and in Germany and in Italy, I believe also, and in Britain, of course, to get some of that technology and to develop it. They were well financed and they had lots of, shall we say, strings and threads to pull. They have been successful. According to whistleblower testimony, we are now trading with 900 ET civilizations through this group. This group have established bases on the Moon and Mars, and right out through the solar system, in the asteroid belt, and in some of the moons around the gas giants. This group, as I said, are interested in trade and wealth and power. They believe, going back to their founding fathers of 1891, and perhaps groups before them, going back into far history, they believe that that's how civilizations operate, and that's the way to go. They can justify themselves by saying that they're doing humanity a service. There is criticism of them in that they are involved in human trafficking throughout this side of the galaxy. And Alex Collier did say in the 1990s that up to 100,000 children and young people are traded off our world every year. Now I have good news here. This number now has vastly decreased, owing to the fact that Solar Warden and some other space program personnel and defectors from the interplanetary corporate conglomerate have come together and have tried to dampen down this trade and stop it where possible. So there's good news on this as well.